Carolina has a surprisingly robust whistleblower protection rubric between tort law and statutory law. And I'm going to highlight two statutes and then a tort that frequently, I think, kind of get at most whistleblower conduct here in North Carolina. And I want to caveat this by saying, obviously, everybody in North Carolina has access to the protections of federal whistleblower law, right? So Sarbanes-Oxley, the Federal False Claims Act, federal OSHA, other other federal statutes that have whistleblower protections. Obviously, here in North Carolina, those still all apply. But here in this state, we have, I want to highlight three specific areas of state law where we offer special or unusual protection, I would say, for employee whistleblowers. One is that here in North Carolina, we have a mini False Claims Act. This applies if you're employed at an employer that has, say, state contracts. So let's say your company is doing work for the state of North Carolina, and you happen to know that they are defrauding the state of North Carolina, that they are not that they are not performing services, for example, for which they're billing the state. Under our state Mini False Claims Act, you still have a right to be free from retaliation if you report that false claim activity. Also here in North Carolina, we also have a mini FCA statute, there's also a qui tam right. So you can act as a private attorney general, bringing action on behalf of the state of North Carolina to claw back any monies that were improperly paid to a state contractor. So that's one set of state whistleblower laws that I think not a lot of people know that we have. Another is the State Whistleblower Protection Act. This is a state statute that gives state employees a right of action, a private civil action for damages if they report fraud, waste, abuse, or violation of state or federal law by a state official. So let's say you're working. I'll give the example of a case that I brought here in North Carolina. I had an employee who was working for the Department of Information Technology who brought up to both the state auditor and the federal oversight agencies and management on the federal side that North Carolina was wasting, misusing, and misplacing federal and state funds that were supposed to go to improving North Carolina's IT systems for Medicare and Medicaid. Those kinds of reports are protected activity, and if you are retaliated against as a result of a report of that nature, you do have a private right of action in North Carolina. Now, that only applies to state employees or employees of not just the state agencies, but also, for example, universities, anything that you would think of as a state-funded entity, that's going to be covered by that particular provision. Then we've also got here in North Carolina a tort called wrongful termination in violation of public policy that's been recognized by our courts. And basically what that does is that protects employees who have reported or refused to engage in conduct that is contrary to a state statute, constitutional provision, or public policy. So if you're being asked to violate state law in your employment, you absolutely have the right to say, no, I can't do that. It violates state law. Here's the state law that it violates. And if they terminate you for that, or if they terminate you, and by the way, this wrongful termination tort does require termination. So the ultimate adverse employment action has to be taken. But if they terminate you for that, you have a tort claim under wrongful termination in violation of public policy here in North Carolina. The wrongful termination in violation of public policy tort definitely applies if you're employed by a private business, may or may not apply if you are a governmental employee.